Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, it's time for some short track racing under the lights. Here in Richmond, Virginia, there's a racetrack that's about a half-mile long, and it sets the stage for the halfway point of the regular season. Live from the Richmond Raceway, it's the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series live on B-Speed. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Alex Gagnon up in the booth. And Alex, we've seen the racing, we've seen the points. We know that we've got consistency with a few of these guys, but tonight this track changes. It's a little bit different of a venue, and so we might see a first-time winner here tonight.
Yeah, this league certainly no strangers to first-time winners this season. 6 different winners over the opening 7 races, or 5 through the opening 7. Gabe Ellison, the only repeat winner so far. But, you know, short tracks tend to bring out the best or worst of drivers, depending on if they let their tempers get the best of them out there tonight. We'll see how that unfolds. I know we have a couple of new faces in the crowd as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they stack up to the series regulars that we've come to know and love over the past 2 months.
And as this season shapes up, a look at your points. Gabriel Ellison 15 points ahead of Casey Carrington. Casey Carrington showing them how it's done at certain venues, and then Gabriel Ellison turns around and gets some wins. And, you know, it seems like every time somebody comes out and wins, Gabriel Ellison follows up with a win of his own.
Yeah, he's just been so good this year with that. And we've seen it a couple times now where it didn't seem like the 27 was going to be there until he put himself on the scene right at the end of the race and was able to take it home. And that's why he's got that points lead right now. Not a huge margin of separation, though, between him and Carrington. And then you kind of look to the rest of the top 10. I mean, there's a lot of positions to be gained or lost there between, like, 5th through 9th, 5th through 10th. I mean, there's a lot of cars all real close together here.
A recap of last week. Out of turn 4, the 43 ran out of fuel with about 1,000 feet left to the start-finish line, and that gave Gabriel Ellison another victory here, and the 27 team is starting a little bit of a hot streak. But Carrington, he's going to start here in the top 10. We know he's a fan favorite, and he's been very consistent, stringing together 7 top 10s here since the first race he had problems at Daytona. Could have been the points leader had that not been the case. But a quick look at your race analysis. 150 laps here today. We're going to have a stage end at lap 75, and we will continue green. There are no cautions for our stages. 5 tire sets available. Of course, 100% fuel on that iRacing fixed setup. And another look at the track map. 3/4 of a mile here. Very difficult racetrack to pass on. We've seen guys struggle with that in the past. It's similar to Iowa, so we're going to see a lot of bottom feeders and guys trying to block that lane on the exit.
Yeah, that certainly will be the key to success here, getting around Richmond. Not a whole lot of room to operate, especially up high, so you might see a couple cars moving each other out of the way down low for that oh-so-coveted bottom line.
And so with that, taking a look at your track map, let's get you to your grid now. Starting on the pole here tonight with a 21.875, it's going to be Michael Sturgill with his, I believe, 3rd pole this season in the number 3 team. To his outside, the number 11 of Thomas Stokes, about a 10th off of that time. Run number 2 goes to Josh Taylor with Gabe Ellison, your points leader, in the 4th position. Then it's Curtis White and Josh Dillon for row number 3. Row 4, Stan Carnathan, Casey Carrington in the 43 starting in 8th. And rounding out your top 10, it's Sheldon Atkins and Daniel Giroux.
That 6th row there, the 66 of Michael Garone and the 29 of Courtney Nelson. Row 7 will be Chris Waddle in the 15 and Tim Bruce in the 411. Starting 15th tonight, it's Jose Ruiz. Michael Mullins rolls off to his outside. In 17th, it's the 1 of Steve Melnick. Craig Martin in the 22 rolls off 18th. And in row 10, it's the 55 of Jeff Noe and the 33 of Cade Sullivan.
3 more cars out here taking the grid tonight. Steve Ritter, a new name that we haven't said before, will start in 21st. These cars electing not to take a time. Dylan Rosenberg in 22nd. And actually 2 more cars after this. Jonathan Skavnicki, I believe I said that correctly, and Kyle Sheldon. So Skavnicki, that's another new name that I haven't rehearsed. But here we go. I mean, this is where you kind of separate the men from the boys. This track, it's hard to get away from somebody. You're going to be right on top of each other, even with lap traffic. The situation is just constantly, you know, bumper to bumper, door to door. You might see these guys go side by side for 4 or 5 laps in a row.
Yeah, that certainly might be the case. And then when you get into those situations where you find yourself side by side, lap after lap, who's going to have the patience and the wherewithal to not only win that battle, but make sure they're taking care of their stuff over the course of a long run? You know, this is a short track, but there's a reason that this race is 150 laps long. Those laps will add up in a hurry if you're not taking care of your tires.
Set to go 150 laps here today. Challenge Series set to go for the halfway point of the season. Into turns 3 and 4, Michael Sturgill will be the command car for this start. Race number 8 about to be underway. Green flag is out, and we're racing in Virginia. Sturgill leads the first time around. You see him wrapping a little bit on the high exit. That keeps the 11 of Stokes at bay, but the top 3 hasn't changed hands much. Gabe Ellison got around the 7 of Josh Taylor, but really that's the only change in the top 5 thus far.
You can see just the amount of speed they carry here. This is not a big track. It's only about 3/4 of a mile or so, and then they're still getting up to about 140 entering the corner. You can really see that momentum have to get carried. They have to drop it all the way down to almost 100 through the corner. So a lot of fluctuation, a lot of opportunities to try and get down below someone if they're not right on their line. Looks like this top group is doing a pretty good job of sticking to the apron so far, but a little deeper back, we still have some 2-wide battling. Looks like the 82 is Stan Carnathan trying to find his way around Daniel Giroux.
82 looks to the inside. Giroux takes the high line out of the exit of 2. And that will keep the 82 behind him for the time being. Carnathan keeps peeking to the inside, but loses a little bit of ground on that exit. And when you run the low line, you can see that these exits on both sides of this racetrack, they kind of draw you back. You might get a good entry on the bottom, but then it kind of cancels itself out when you leave the corner.
Yeah, and that can really, you know, every so often you'll find that happen as a driver. The important thing, though, is you don't let that disrupt how you approach the next corner. You got to find a way to get into a rhythm here early. Richmond's such a rhythm track with how many laps you run. If you do not find a comfortable way to get around this track quickly and effectively, you're going to start losing out. As you see, Carnathan loses a spot there to Garone. The 66 now up the P9 and pulling away from Carnathan, who's continually to run about half a lane off the bottom, which keeps giving those cars behind him an opportunity to peek to the inside. This time around will be Jose Ruiz, maybe taking a look to the inside of the 82.
Yeah, he's like half a lane up and then running on the bottom on the exit, and that's going to be killing the speed on both ends. You're not coming in on the bottom of the track from the entry of the corner and then exiting a little bit lower than everyone else. That's eventually going to wear these tires down as well. So I know it's a little bit safer, especially in the exit of turn 2, where we notoriously see cars, and we will see cars hit that outside wall later in this race. Once this car starts to tighten up, it's going to be side by side, and somebody's going to make a mistake.
And all it takes is one little slip up here for the car behind you to capitalize. As you see, Carrington looking to the inside of White going in the 1. Looks like he'll clear him here in the 43. Now up into the top 5. You know Casey Carrington looking for some redemption after coming up 1,000 feet short last week. It would be really nice for him to get his season back on track here, to get back in victory lane. He's just lost out on that points lead at the moment as well to Gabe Ellison. So a big opportunity tonight for the 43 to try and get some things right after coming so close a week ago.
So I want you to do some math for me, Alex. I know that it's going to be really close, in my mind anyway. We're 3/4 of a mile around this track as compared to the 1.5 miles where we ran 90 laps and then we're able to make it in one stop, if you could stretch that run out. So for Casey Carrington, would this be another race where you roll the dice and you try to make this a one-stop race if we stay green?
Crunching the numbers real quick, the math would suggest if the fuel load was burning at the same rate, you would be able to make that work. That being said, a lot more, maybe a little bit more aggressive on the throttle here, trying to get off the corners. But I don't think that'll play into a huge effect here. So I do really think anyone who pits around or just after that stage break, if they can make it, will be able to make it on just the one stop. And it might take a little bit of fuel conservation, but not nearly as drastically as we saw last week with Carrington trying to save, I think it was an extra 4 laps to the number. So we'll see how that plays out here. Obviously still very early on, but already something that these drivers are going to have to consider because fuel strategy has been such a major talking point of this SimRacerHub.com challenge series to this point. I mean, there's been 3 or 4 races already in the opening 7 that have been quantifiably fuel mileage races.
Yeah, and they like to keep it close. I know that we have extra tire sets here tonight. I don't think tires will be a factor like they were at other venues where drivers maybe burned up all their sets and didn't have anything for the end of the race. We've also had races that have went clean and green from start to finish, and so we got a little spoiled there in the first 4 weeks, with the exception of Daytona. Then we had a streak of 3 races up until I believe it was Rockingham that we had our first caution since Daytona, and here we are tonight, 15 laps in, looking like we're on track to maybe do it again.
Yeah, and the short tracks are always the ones, especially in iRacing, where you tense up a little bit thinking about how some leagues and cautions can go here at Richmond. I personally have broadcast a couple of races at Richmond where the caution counter for a 200-lap race was north of 15. Let me tell you, that was not fun for anybody involved, so hoping for a clean and green race here tonight. So far, it looks like everyone has kind of settled in. And at this point, I think it's going to be a matter of just waiting for the car in front of you to make a mistake and capitalizing. We're watching on board here. This is the battle for second between Thomas Stokes and Gabe Ellison. A really good qualifying effort for the 11, but you're starting to see cars getting backed up behind the 11 machine.
Yeah.
Got to imagine that the couple of cars behind him might have a little bit more pace than the 11 if they can find a way around him.
Yeah, he qualified well, but it's looking like, as you see Casey Carrington get around, he's going to move up to 4th spot around Josh Taylor. But it looks like the 11 might be holding up this group a little bit as they continue to fall back from Sturgill about 0.8, 0.9 of a second. You got to wonder, is the 11 saving his stuff, or is he just off the pace here after the short run?
That's one of those things I think we'll see later into this run if other cars can find their way on around. I would not be shocked if we see the 11 fall back through the field a little bit over the course of this run, whether he's saving or just a little off the pace. The question will be does he work his way back forward if he does lose that track position. That'll be the real indicator, I think, for me. But right now, Gabe Ellison having a tough time trying to find his way around. He's kind of stuck just behind the 11 here. Carrington now into the picture as well. The top 2 cars in points running 3rd and 4th right now, both trying to find their way around the 11 of Stokes.
On board with Casey Carrington in the 43. You know he's hungry for another win. He almost got one last week, and like we mentioned there, just 1,000 feet short of that on a gamble. And they had to stretch that fuel run out almost 5 laps, I believe they said. It was like 4.3 that they had to stretch it out. Unfortunately, you know, when you come out short like that, it can mess with your head. You start to doubt when you gamble like that. Oh, 11 of Stokes in the wall. You got a lap car up here as well. It's Cade Sullivan. They're going to go 3 wide. They're peaking here down the front stretch.
You can see the 27 was looking to try and move the 11 up the track, trying to use that lap car of Sullivan as a pick. The 11, though, held its ground, made things a little narrow on the exit. The 27 has the nose ahead. He just hasn't been able to clear
contact.
Big time wiggle from the 27. Carrington got right into the back bumper. Oh, boy, that was almost shades of Dale Jr. and Kyle Busch out there in turn 4.
Take a look at it from another angle here and see if we can get a better look at it. You're going to see the 43 just slide it in on the entry and get a little touch there. Let the 27 know that he's there. And back on defense. Stokes doing a heck of a job here to hold on to the second position.
Yeah, he has been relentlessly clinging to the outside of the 27 here, refusing to let him clear. This battle is exactly what Michael Sturgill wants to see. He's now almost 2 seconds clear. Ellison having a whale of a time trying to clear. He might be able to finally clear the 11 here, but Carrington not too far behind either, who I'm sure will be applying the pressure at any moment here.
And it's got to be frustrating, though, if you're Stokes, because, oh, contact into one. And the frustration took over, and that'll open up the door for Carrington for the second spot.
Can't get too frustrated here if you're the 11, because you got to go right back on the defensive. Josh Taylor now filling up that rear view mirror. Carrington almost got into the corner of the 27. That was a close moment right there.
So dialing it back a little bit here. I know that it took a while for the 27 of Ellison to get around the 11, but once he did, the 43 was right there to pick him off. Made quick work. They now have 2 full seconds, though, to catch up to Michael Sturgill, who is checked out.
Yeah, Sturgill in really good position here, 27 laps in, really utilizing that battle between the 27 and the 11 to open up that lead. And as much as Gabe Ellison's going to want to track down his teammate there, Michael Sturgill, got to keep an eye on that mirror, because Casey Carrington not going to give you any leadway as they make their way down the front straightaway. We've seen a lot of battles already this season between those two. Not so many between these guys here, though. Josh Taylor, Thomas Stokes battling for 4th. Now Michael Carone, Josh Dillon. A lot of battling here happening inside the top 10, 28 laps in.
So Cade Sullivan a lap down here off the pace here tonight. Josh Dillon going to lose the spot. 66 really loose off of turn 4. Still hasn't completed that pass. They'll go side by side for another lap into 1 and 2. 66 down on the bottom, touches the apron, gets loose. Doesn't look like he gained anything there. They're going to stay door to door in the entry of 3.
Dillon trying to roll that outside to good effect. Garone, though, not going to give him any room down low. Diving back into turn 1. Late on the brakes is the 66. Dillon, though, right there. Door to door they remain through the corner, running out of room. Dillon taps the wall off of 2. That'll be just enough for the 66 to clear and move up into P7.
So now setting his sights, the 11 gets another spot lost here.
The 11 going the wrong way in a hurry. It's been a nice little drive so far for Michael Garone, up 4 spots from 11th to 7th. Might be able to get another one here as Stokes has been falling down the order just a little bit. Here goes to 66, looking to the inside, trying to take that spot away.
So the lead dwindles down a little bit. Last time by, Gabe Ellison was slightly faster than Michael Sturgill. Not by much, though. Continue to see Stokes struggle and fall through this field. As far as close battles go, it's really between this 5th back to 8th position. Slowly, Daniel Giroux is climbing into this picture as well, and he's kind of been silently in the top 10 for every race that we've had. He needs to have, a top 5 day here. I think that would put him back in the top 10 in points. He started out at Daytona, had a win. Since then, it's just kind of been like hanging on to the edge of the top 10 every week.
Yeah, right now, currently running 9th, up a couple spots from where he started, or up 1 spot from where he started, but right now, a lot of positions potentially up for grabs just in front of him. You can see all 3 of Garone, Stokes, and Dillon just ahead of him. Daniel Giroux's teammate, though, Dylan Rosenberg, making good time through the field. He's up the P12, looking to take 11th away from Carnathan. The 91 qualified outside the top 20 tonight.
I almost saw Thomas Stokes go around on the backstretch. We need to take a look at that.
Oh, yeah, just got real loose trying to get the car ready to go into 3.
So you know that when this thing's ill handling on a straightaway, it's got to be even tougher in a corner just to get off the exit. And that's where the, oh, there he goes.
Collects the 12 and the 92. Caution's out. Looks like the handling went away on the 11, was trying to back up the corner a little bit, and the 12 got all of them going into turn 1.
We had already seen the 11 following through, but Josh Dillon gets into the back of him. Back this up on the instant replay. It's already happened at this point, so back it up one more time.
Yeah, you see just how loose the 11 was trying to get that car situated on the front stretch, and then the 12 just gets right into him in the 1 as the 11 tried backing up the corner. They both go sideways and nowhere for Daniel Giroux to go because he was in a side-by-side battle with Jose Ruiz. So he was kind of stuck up at the top, and you can just see the closing speed difference between the two. I mean, I don't think the 12 was expecting the 11 to back up the corner that far in the slightest.
On board with Daniel Giroux. So it just occurred to me, thanks to Noah Mahalski up in the chat, we might have mislabeled the broadcast tonight for Michigan Speedway.
Oh, yeah, this is slightly smaller than Michigan.
We were there last week, so I apologize for that. We will fix that now. Yeah, it's race 8, so I did get that fixed. I did do that. And we're bound to make mistakes every now and then, right? We're human.
Yeah, we're only human.
All right. Well, if you refresh your page, Noah, it should be correct now at this point.
There we
So,
go. I'm seeing Richmond on mine as well.
Good, good. All right, so with that, we had green flag or caution pit stops there, and looked like pretty much the entirety of this field, with the exception of Kyle Shelton, came down, and he's going to come down this time. Kyle Shelton stayed out there to try to lead a lap, but wasn't able to get it done. Maybe to get a lap back. Might have been the lucky pass. We have 3 cars a lap down. Josh Dillon getting that damage repaired. Daniel Giroux, who also has damage. It's very easy to go down a lap here very quick. And for the 92 and the 12, they had some pretty heavy damage. You see Giroux still in his pit stall. It looks like maybe the right front knocked completely out of that car.
Yeah, he caught that in a really vulnerable part of the car. Tucks that right in to the right front tire. Not the kind of damage you want to have here. Not going to really affect the aero a ton. They don't get up to enough speed for that to be the case, but certainly will affect the handling of that race car, which will be critical at a track like Richmond with how often you spend your time in this track cornering, because there's so little straightaway to have to contend with.
So you're already hearing some strategy on fuel save right now. And some guys came back in, topped off a second time. Thomas Stokes came down pit road. The 11, of course, got the brunt end of that into the wall. Rear end a little messed up on this machine. He's going to be down and away. Try to stay on the lead lap. He will. Pace car was just entering turn 1 there as he exits the pit. Lights are out. So much for a caution-free race, huh?
That is true, and there was some fireworks there in that one. One of the more eventful cautions I think we've seen all season.
A short track racing, is it not?
Yeah. Quintessential short track racing there, what we just saw.
How about this? Casey Carrington has worked his way up to the 2nd spot after Gabe Ellison had a slight little hitch on pit road, 14.9 in the pit box. Sturgill on the loud pedal, green flag out for the 2nd time today here at Richmond.
And a great launch for the inside row, caught the 43 sleeping, and Ellison going to go right back on by to take 2nd place back.
It's got to be frustrating for Carrington. He could have had a shot at the lead And, you know, you talk about the pace. Carrington's always honest with himself and with us up in the booth. He'll just straight up say in his interview, you know, I might not have been the fastest car tonight, but I had the strategy. And, you know, he's kicking himself last week. You know, if I just would have clutched it for an extra corner, or maybe he didn't get held up there for a moment there on the lap traffic, there's a number of things he could have done differently that probably would have got him to victory lane last week.
That is true, and you know he'd love to bounce back from it and try and get it done tonight. Another former winner, or not former, but a previous winner this season there, Michael Mullins, going to go all the way up top, almost making it 3 wide, trying to work his way to the front as well. He's up 9 spots from 16th to 7th. And that Delta number 24 machine now looking down to the inside of Michael Barone, trying to find some way through to get up to battle with the leaders here. A little bit of contact with Rosenberg.
Yeah, Rosenberg gets really loose there. The 29 of Courtney Nelson on the outside. Excuse me.
Ruiz just got a piece, or sorry, Sheldon Atkins just got a piece of Carnathan. It's only 3 wide here almost. Boy, they are not giving each other a lot of room out there.
No, they are not. This is one of those, take them while you can. The tire's going to wear off very quickly, and the inside on the exit probably not going to help you complete this pass. You see the 29 of Nelson back into the top 10, running that high line. He's going to get around the 82 and work his way up to 9th now.
Yeah, he is on the move here, trying to get back toward where he started this race. He's actually up a couple positions, started 12th up to 9th now. So he's up a few. And honestly, I'm looking at this field. Some of the new faces that we're seeing tonight, they're doing a pretty good job. Courtney Nelson's up a few. Jonathan Scavnicki's up 7. He's up to 15th, 22nd. So a couple of new faces who are slowly but surely putting it together here. As it looks like Daniel Drew is just coming off a pit road after repairing some of that damage.
Casey Carrington got back around Gabe Ellison to get back in the 2nd position. I'll set his sights. Sturgill maybe not going to run away quite as much as he did on the last time. He already has it stretched out to half a second, a little bit more than that. But now it's looking like maybe Sturgill's going to get challenged here.
Yeah, it's been a pretty smooth sailing journey so far for Michael Sturgill through the opening 50 laps here. He's led every single one of them and has not had a whole lot of pressure, as you can see the onboard here with our leader. However, Casey Carrington, maybe the 2nd fastest car in the field, at least that we've seen to this point, might pose a challenge for the 3 now that he's got nothing between him and the leader except open track. The gap right now hovering around 0.6 of a second as they make their way on to lap 52. With Sturgill and Carrington, your front 2, with Ellison, Taylor, and White, your top 5.
Still very much on top of each other in the 10th position. The 92, or 91 rather, of Dylan Rosenberg gets into the top 10. Up 11 spots, gets around Stan Carnathan. Jose Ruiz in the 6th car running in 12th right now, up 3 positions. And got a lot of drivers in the back here, just outside the top 10, that are working their way towards that top 10. 5 spots gained for Craig Martin. Just behind Ruiz, Jeff No up 5 and up 7. Scavnicki and the number 4. A little bit of a, looks like a Kurt Busch throwback on that 4 machine.
Certainly does seem like it. Got the Sharpie car with the rookie stripes out there. He's got Daniel Giroux directly behind him. The 92, though, currently scored 10 laps down due to that incident back on lap 40. So not a battle for position between these 2 cars. 92, though, I'm sure going to... someone big time into the wall there. I think that might be Jeff No.
It was.
Completely killed the momentum of Steve Melnick there as well.
So you're going to look back here with the car that got heavily damaged there. He still got some of it. Thomas Stokes started outside the front row, currently in 17th. Still on the lead lap. Could still get a top 10 day. He's got a lot of work to do to get back up there.
Yeah, and you can really tell that he is having to work that car a little bit harder than he was. You see the overcorrection, not the overcorrection, but having to chase that car back up to the outside wall. there down the back straightaway. The handling just not quite there with the 11, especially after that incident. Still making his way up a little bit. Has gained a couple positions since the restart and was closing in on a car in front as we jump up to Casey Carrington, who's trimming down Michael Sturgill's lead just a little bit. About 4.5 tenths now, down from about 6 tenths a few laps ago. Whoa, what happened to Kate Sullivan?
Not sure.
No
I think he hit
front
the
wheel.
pit wall.
That looks pretty terminal. Because he still has an entire front of his car and a right front wheel here as he goes into 3 and 4. Oh, yeah, you are 100% correct. Directly into those sand barrels in front of the pit wall.
Cade Sullivan probably going to be done for the day. Daniel Giroux has also left the session. He was 12 laps down roughly when he exited out here from Virginia. Starting to dwindle down a little bit. One car a lap down. That's Josh Dillon. If we get another yellow, he'll get back on the lead lap. I'm sure he wants to get back up here, start fighting for positions. He definitely has top 5 speed. He's just not able to pass any cars right now.
Yeah, no one on the same lap as him. The only way he's going to get that lap back most likely is if there's going to be a caution, he can get the free pass. When he got into that incident with Stokes, he was running in the middle of the top 10. That's around the speed of where that 12 car should be if he's able to get back onto the lead lap. But right now, it's just a lot of keeping yourself in position, and hopefully things fall in favor of the 12 if you're part of that crew. Little battle there, Garone and Mullins battling for 6th side by side as they go into turn 3.
Behind that, Courtney Nelson and Stan Carnathan were side by side for the 10th spot again. 66 of Garone gets really loose out of 4. He's still going to hold to the door of the 24 though into 1. It's so difficult to pass here. It's just frustrating because you get the run in or you get the run out, whatever the case may be. They're going to keep hanging on the door. He locks up the front end and slides it into 3. Mistake there from Michael Garone.
And that will give the 6th position to Michael Mullins. Meanwhile, back up front, it is a 2-car battle really for the lead at this point. They have pulled out over a second on Gabe Ellison. It's just Michael Sturgill and Casey Carrington now in the picture. The stage coming up at the end of lap 75, about 10 laps from now. And it'll likely be either the 3 or the 43 picking up that stage win. The 3, the only car to lead laps so far tonight, but the 43 keeping them honest to this point.
Yeah, Sturgill led every single one so far, and he just has to lead lap 75 here to lock up this stage. We've seen dominant performances from guys, Gabe Ellison, Casey Carrington. We've seen guys come out here and dominate races. Michael Mullins at Auto Club, dominant day. Then it all falls apart in the last 15 laps. So you never really know what you're going to get here in the Sim Racer Hub Challenge Series.
But that's what keeps it fun. That's what keeps it interesting. You know, just because you have the dominant car for 3/4 of the day doesn't mean you're going to win it. You got to be able to finish. And sometimes we've seen some really incredible finishes so far this season of drivers just barely coming up short. Sturgill is looking for win number 2 of the year. He was one of those early points leaders a couple races in. And then after missing a couple races, has fallen down the table just a little bit, trying to rebound here, and win number 2 on the year would be a great way to shoot himself back into championship contention.
Yeah, and so with the provisionals that we add last place points, that helps Sturgill a little bit. So you got to keep that in mind that every driver in here has provisional points. That's all been tallied up. Sim Racer Hub, of course. That's what they strive to do. It's their niche. Statistics. So everything here accurate. I'd tell you what else has been pretty accurate. I'm impressed. Back and forth, Josh Taylor all over the back bumper of Gabe Ellison for the 3rd position, and We've seen Taylor come out with some hot races, and this one looks like it's going to be a top 5 day if he can bring it home.
Yeah, he's running really good right now. We know the 7 has some of the best short run speed, I think, of just about any car in the series. It's always these longer green flag runs that tend to be the issue for the 7. I think there's a couple drivers who might be able to save their tires just a little bit better than the 7 so far this season from what we've seen. But in a sprint like this, where, you know, only about 30 laps on these tires so far, the 7 is just as good as any of them. And you can see that here as he is hounding the points leader, Gabe Ellison, right now, trying to take away that 3rd spot before we get to the end of the stage in a few laps.
So they're slowly accordioning you back from 3rd and 4th position. Sturgill is lengthening out the lead on the Casey Carrington, who made another little mistake there last time out of 2. And this time by, looks like Sturgill's going to beat him by at least 0.3 of a second. That's impressive. Actually, Carrington a little quicker. You see that lead? It just kind of goes in between the half second to a full second, back and forth.
Yeah, a good bit of fluctuation there, but there is a couple of battles happening throughout the top 10. Obviously that one with Ellison and Taylor, but then you also get this battle here, Mullins and Sheldon Atkins. That's the battle for 7th. Garreau not too far ahead of him. Rosenberg not too far behind him. A lot of stage points up for grabs here over the next 2 laps. You know, you might be able to steal a few more points here if you can get a couple more of these spots. Mullins trying to hold off the 81 on the inside. Atkins, though, really, really flying on that high side.
So white flag in the air for Michael Sturgill. Just has to lead this time by. He'll claim the stage victory. Has about a half-second lead over Casey Carrington out of turns 2 and into 3 and 4. Michael Sturgill is going to be victorious on this stage.
$75 up, $75 down for the 3. He's led every lap so far, won the stage. Shaping up to be a pretty banner evening for Michael Sturgill so far. Those who got stage points there, Sturgill, Carrington, Ellison, Taylor, Curtis White, Michael Garone, Sheldon Atkins, Michael Mullins, Dylan Rosenberg, Jose Ruiz. Your top 10 as they came across the line that time by. Those will be the ones awarded stage points tonight, but obviously we stay under green flag conditions. A rule special for this Sim Racer Hub Challenge Series. One that I honestly am a big fan of. It keeps the flow of the race going, but still incentivizes kind of run through the middle of the race here.
Yeah, and that's what stage racing does. It incentivizes drivers to maybe not sandbag or sit back too long. I do like that they don't run cautions and that they give points and continue on. NASCAR maybe could take something out of that book with the stages.
Yeah. Big old hint, throw an elbow at him. Like, hey, check this out. Come on.
It seems to work. I mean, because you got all these strategies, but when you're guaranteed a specific caution at a specific lap, a lot of guys will kind of throw out a gamble or, manipulate things in their favor. Sometimes it's a little tough to watch what these guys get away with to make sure that they get stage points. You see a pass for 2nd. Gabe Ellison. Look like Casey Carrington starting to fall off a little bit as Josh Taylor will look to the inside.
Yeah, the 43 really seeming to have some troubles right now unless he's thinking about some fuel strategy that the rest of us aren't. That is not unheard of for the 43 of Casey Carrington, but a couple cars are going to go on by, and here's a battle with Rosenberg and Mullins for 8th. Rosenberg continues his slow but steady march to the front of the field. He's up 13 spots, looking to make it 14 here if he can clear the 24.
Not able to do so. Carrington does get passed by the 7 of Josh Taylor. Oh, big checkup here. We slid the entry a little bit. Very easy to lock up the brakes on these cars. Just again, I'm impressed with what Josh Taylor has done to keep this car up in the top 3. And I said a top 5 day, but it could be possibly a win if he keeps up this pace. He could come down here, short pit a little bit, maybe have a strategy to get ahead of Michael Sturgill. He's only a second and a half back.
Yeah, he is keeping tabs on the leader, but more importantly, he's keeping tabs on the points leader here, Gabe Ellison. That gap has been less than half a second ever since the restart. You see a pass here just outside the top 10. Skavnicki looking to the inside of Courtney Nelson. This is the battle for 13th. Couple of new faces here in the Challenge Series, duking it out. The 4 down low, the 29 up high.
So I gotta say, there's probably not many of you in our chat, and probably not many of you on iRacing, but when I see the word Skavnicki, I'm just thinking of Escape from Tarkov the whole time. So I apologize if that doesn't have any relevance, but yeah, that is.
I'll hit you with an even deeper cut here than Tarkov. There is a higher than 0% chance I may have went to college with this fella, if it is who I'm thinking of. There was a John Skavnicki who attended Robert Morris the same time I was there, so if that is the case, that'd be incredibly funny.
Small world sometimes.
Right now, yeah, it really is. But he's having a pretty solid day. He's up about 10 spots. He's worked his way to the 13th from 22nd, and has just been a really solid debut for him to this point.
Battle for second heats up, and as it does, it's a perfect chance here as we're green flag racing past the halfway point. Well, you know what I'm going to say. If you've watched any of these broadcasts, you need to find that volume knob or the remote control wherever your child hit it, and it's time to get loud. Presented by 29 Graphics. Let's get loud, presented by 29 Graphics, and we have some cars down pit road now. Michael Garone is going to come in and get service to his Lexus. Lexus, just to clarify. Looks chopped
like,
off
Courtney
there tonight.
Nelson.
Yeah, can't confirm for you there.
Yeah.
He did attend college with you.
What are the odds? Small world indeed.
So there you go. Got Nikki64, thank you for that information. I think we're about to have a class reunion after this broadcast.
Certainly a possibility. Looks like Sturgill still holding on to about a 1.2 second lead over Gabe Ellison. More cars now making their way down pit road. Skavnicki down the way. Looks like the 43, also another car that stopped there. Casey Carrington was in the top 5 before he came down pit road. So one of the first cars from that lead group to take the plunge.
So we'll carry on with the top 3 still out there. 56 laps on this stint. You can go all the way back to, oh, we got a car on the wall there. It's a 77. Kyle Shelton letting by the lead. Keeping tabs, though, on Josh Taylor. I think this is a situation. You see the 27, with Gabe Ellison coming down pit road. But I think right now, Josh Taylor is in kind of a sleeper seat. He could probably hypnotize Sturgill. Yellow flag.
Ooh, what's the caution for? Who brought it out?
Uh-oh. Cold tires is going to get the best of this car and Michael Garone.
Well, he had just come down pit road. It might have been cold tires in this case.
Yeah. I said cold. It might have sounded like old.
Oh, I heard old. Yeah, that's my bad.
He's going to get really sideways out of 2 right here.
Oh, yeah. And just loops it, locks it down, does a good job keeping it off the wall. But when he backs it up, I think that's when they throw the yellow, because now at that point he's back onto the racing surface. Do one more look here on board with the 66. He was trying to get around the 411 to Tim Bruce, one of those lap cars. Yeah, and just, a little too much, too fast, I think. The track temp, not super high. It's only about 82 out there at the moment on track, 72 air temp. So going to take a few laps to get those things up to proper racing temperature, and I think that's exactly what bit the 66 there.
What this does, though, for the points leader, Gabe Ellison, it trapped him on pit road. As you see the 3 of Sturgill make his way down and out, the 7 of Taylor. Michael Mullins, who had just come into the pits, he's going to benefit tremendously from this. He's going to gain 15 spots and probably about 12 from where he was before these green flag pit stops. So now he's going to come down, but we do have, I believe we're going to get maybe a lead change. No, it looks like Sturgill's going to come back around in time here to prevent that from happening, and he'll lead every single lap that we've completed thus far here at Richmond. Don't go anywhere. Still plenty of racing left to be done. You're watching the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series live on V-Speed, where coverage will continue for the remaining 50 laps right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, folks. Less than 50 laps to go here from Richmond Raceway tonight in the Sim Racer Hub Challenge Series, race 8 of this regular season. It's been a fun one so far, and it's shaping up to be a real sprint to the finish here. While we've got a second, I want to take a second to shout out some of the folks who make this league possible, including Rapid Fired Pizza. The first Rapid Fired Pizza opened its doors in 2015 in Dayton, Ohio. The idea was simple: make fast, delicious, and affordable pizza now in 25 cities across the country. Customers love the fresh taste, the speed, and the ability to create their own perfect pizza with over 35 toppings and sauces. Go to www.rapidfiredpizza.com for a location near you.
We're back, Green Flag Racing, and Michael Sturgill, Josh Taylor, the top 2 spots. And with this shakeup of where the caution fell compared to what, cars on pit road, a lot of guys that were up here in the top 3 have now fallen out.
And there's not a whole lot of time to recover from that situation for those who are shuffled way in the back there. Carrington in 12th, Ellison 13th. Michael Garone scored a lap down. I mean, there is a couple of really fast cars here.
Stokes around and gets a piece of Carrington.
Big time wall contact for Kyle Shelton. Certainly the yellow is going to have to come out. And there it is.
There it is.
Oh boy, that was a massive impact for the 77.
There's Stokes. He gets sent sideways. It's going to shape up the rest of this incident.
Yeah, so everyone scatters to avoid. Whoa. What happened to the 11? He just absolutely hooked that thing sideways at no speed off of turn 2. And obviously the thing that we were drawn to at first was the 77 flying there, but watch the 11 just make a left. Gets tagged there by Curtis White. But I don't know what happened with the 11 there. It starts off getting a little bit of contact, I believe, from Steve Melnick. That's what sends him around. And then just...
Oh, he downshifted.
Oh. Yeah, you could see how far that wheel was cranked to the right, and yet it was still fishtailing left. Got a piece of Carrington. And then this is the onboard with the 77 of Kyle Shelton. Big contact to the inside retaining wall.
So fresh tires here for Josh Taylor, and you're talking about maybe 2 or 3 laps under green. Will this be advantageous for these guys 7th place on back? A lot of them came back down for the second stop. You've got Jose Ruiz, Michael Mullins, Michael Garone. Sturgill has been up here leading every single lap here tonight. You got to wonder, he's got a little cushion here, but can Josh Taylor or somebody else work their way through this field and get up here and challenge him?
I honestly really like this situation for the 7 if he's effective in making passes through the field here. He is one of the fastest cars on the short run, and when we get going green, it'll be just over 30 laps to go. And at Richmond, that is not a particularly long time. So if he's able to quickly work his way through the field, that tire advantage might prove to be a difference against the 3, but obviously he's got some work to do. He'll be restarting, I believe, 7th. So a few cars he'll have to sort on by, but of that group, a lot of cars who have not had top 10 speed tonight in front of them. So honestly, could be a really interesting situation to see how this works out for Josh Taylor. Michael Sturgill, obviously electing to keep the track position, not going to pit from the lead. Can't say I blame him, but certainly something he's going to have to keep an eye on in the rearview mirror.
We'll pull Josh Taylor up here into the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, Josh, you came in and doubled down on those tires. You're going to have a little bit of an advantage. Do you think you can work your way up there? You have top 5 speed, but now you might have race winning speed.
Yeah, Michael's really good, so I figured this would be a better chance for me to get a chance to win this race. Tires are so good here, and even 2 laps, I feel like it could be an advantage. So if I can get through this traffic, I feel like I have a chance at Michael.
Well, Josh, you've looked good here tonight. You looked good at other races, but this one especially, you hung right there with Gabe Ellison.
Yeah, he was really fast on that long run. I felt like I was a little quicker than him at times, and then he'd be a little quicker at times, and I just couldn't find a way around him. It's just kind of hard to pass when they're just that fast.
Well, we're doubled back up. Careful on these cold tires for the restart. You got a few drivers in front of you. Good luck out there, man.
Thanks, man.
Josh Taylor in the number 7 Eon Motorsports driver getting ready to go back green. I like where he is too. I gotta admit, this might be a good call. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out. Of course, the race has to go green for this to really be beneficial, for him to show that that's going to be a thing. As we get set for the 4th time today, onto the loud pedal for Michael Sturgill into turn 1.
Things got really stacked up there on the restart. Taylor split it 3 wide for a second. Now ducking to the inside of Curtis White. He's already up the 5th.
Really quick there for Josh Taylor. I think that little interview right there might have sparked some interest in some guys. Maybe anybody out there watching that's a Josh Taylor fan, put it up in the chat. This guy has a good chance of getting the victory as he works his way through this top 5.
Yeah, he's in good shape right now. However, gonna have to catch the 3, of which no one's been able to do so tonight. Michael Sturgill has just been an immovable object up there at the front of the field, has led every lap to this point, and has looked pretty consistent doing so. I haven't seen any missteps from the 3 so far, so a tall order ahead for anyone going to try and challenge him.
Challenge for the 4th position. The 7 of Taylor goes around Craig Martin. He'll work up another spot. Now goes to work the 82 of Stan Carnathan in front.
And the big thing here for all those cars who just came down pit road to have that slight tire advantage, the one thing you got to be mindful of is you can't get over ambitious at the opening couple laps trying to get these positions while you can, because the last thing you want to do is burn out that advantage that your tires have and then have them not be there when you need them at the very end of this race. As you look to see the 7 going to the inside of the 82, and also that is Curtis White and Dylan Rosenberg battling it out 6th on back there. Looks like Gabe Ellison trying to make his way into the scene as well.
So Taylor up to 3rd. He has Sheldon Atkins in front. Atkins way up the racetrack. That's Josh Taylor from 7th up to 3rd in just a matter of 4 laps. He's on the move. About 35 to go here.
And now closing in big time on the 81. Gets right up to his back bumper. Going to look to the inside of Atkins here. Will he be able to clear him off at turn 4? Not this time around. They'll stay side by side. Atkins had a much better run off of 4 than he did 2. Hanging right there with the Scooby-Doo machine.
He's going to hang on the right rear out of the exit of turn 2. Drag race side by side. Taylor wants to make quick work of Atkins. He will.
And now Atkins going to look for the switchback. Don't know if he'll have the speed to make it happen, though. And now if you're Josh Taylor, it is 0.8 of a second the difference between you and Michael Sturgill, but clean track in front of you. He got around the 5 cars separating him and the leader in the span of about 10 laps or so, maybe a bit less. So really good shape so far for the 7. And now he starts to reel in the leader, 1/10 of a second faster that time around.
If that's what 2 tires would do, I am very interested to see. This race stays green for the next 30 laps or so. Very good chance that Josh Taylor can be challenging for the lead within the next 10. He's got to get around the 3. That's a whole different task, but catching up to him slowly, 1/10 a lap.
And he will certainly be within the rearview mirror of Sturgill here pretty shortly. Michael Sturgill has not really had any car challenge him tonight. He has been in really firm control of this lead since the drop of the green flag. And now as the 7 starts to get a little bit bigger in that mirror, what will the 3 do here? He has a long way to go to try to go pillar the post and win this thing tonight. Already he's led 119 laps, but this is probably the most precarious his lead situation has been in.
He's looking a lot more locked in this time as well. I mean, compared to earlier, we had the onboard camera with him. He was looking a little more relaxed, maybe thrown into the corner a little easier. Now it looks like all the way to the bottom every single time. That last time by, he lost almost 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, and to your point, Josh Taylor now on the scene. Catching a guy is one thing, passing him quite another. The gap, 1.5 car lengths as they make their way off of 4. Under 30 laps to go, Sturgill leads Josh Taylor and Sheldon Atkins. Atkins, though, a distant 3rd, 1.5 seconds back.
And for Gabe Ellison, who got trapped on pit road, he's worked his way back into the top 5. The 27 has Dylan Rosenberg. Remember, Rosenberg had contact earlier with Stokes, had some damage, but how about the 91 up into the top 5?
Yeah, and he started from outside the top 20, so it's been a great drive today for Dylan Rosenberg. up about 15, 16 positions from where he qualified. And now you see Josh Taylor under 0.2 of a second to the back bumper of leader Michael Sturgill. How patient will the 7 be?
I think you got to be really patient. Maybe don't push the issue till about 10 to go. You know you have the tire advantage. You don't want to start changing your line now. You've shown that you have the speed all race long. Definitely in a good spot. Don't make a mistake getting to the back of them. Don't get too aggressive. Just hang right there in those tire tracks. And I think right around lap 140, you start to go after them.
And while that is the game plan probably for the pursuer, for the one being pursued here, Michael Sturgill, it's just a matter about making that number 3 machine as wide as possible in the corners, particularly making sure you get all the way down to the apron, not giving the 7 that optimal line to get under you in the corner. I mean, he still has another 25 laps. He needs to anchor this thing down to the bottom of the racetrack. Easier said than done for the 3. But if there's anyone who's going to be able to do it tonight and defend against someone on fresher tires, it would be the 3 with how dominant that car's been tonight.
So now you're in dirty air. Josh Taylor hasn't changed his line at all. He's staying right there in the tire tracks. You got to wonder if maybe moving it up half a lane to get a little air on that nose would help that 7 car rotate. You can see there, he gets a little bit higher on the exit. But he's right there. He's playing his strategy. I think he's just lurking on Sturgill. It goes back to what I said earlier. You can lead every single lap, but if you don't lead that last one, and we've seen it a lot here in the Sim Racer Hub Challenge Series, it doesn't matter. You have to lead that white flag, the checkered flag.
That you do. Meanwhile, just behind this, you see side-by-side Rosenberg and Ellison. Ellison going to take that spot away for 4th. Garone now gets around Curtis White for 9th, looking to try and get that spot from Jose Ruiz in 8th. The last caution came out because of the 66 spinning, and yet he has worked himself back into the top 10 here. A great recovery for the 66 to make something out of what was shaping up to be maybe not a really good night.
Back into the top 10, Casey Carrington. Not a good day for him. He has a little bit of damage on the nose of this 43 as well. That might be interfering a little bit with his speed down the straightaways. He needs to get back into the top 10 to mitigate this damage. This has not been a day for him. Although the first half of this race was much better.
Whoa,
Problems for Jeff No.
Maybe big time into the wall.
Connection issues there for the 55, I believe.
Oh, the Josh Taylor got within 1/10 of a second. It shrunk down a little bit now, but he had a look to the inside down the front straightaway, I believe. Settling back out just a little bit here, but I think he's starting to try and find a way to make his move. And I think the spot he feels most comfortable on is trying to get a run down the front straightaway. Reeling in the 3 every time they go across the front straightaway, just trying to find a way to make it work in 1 and 2. Sturgill, though, has been so good tonight on that side of the racetrack. A little bit of a wall contact there for the 7 as well. Going to hold him up. Going to hold him up big time. He lost a ton of ground.
While that's going on, the 3rd place spot's about to change hands. Gabe Ellison peeked to the inside. Sheldon Atkins in the 81. Could be a top 3 day for either one of these cars. About 18 laps to go. You know that Atkins wants to play defense in this 3rd spot. This is a podium. Get him up here in the booth. Said I've seen enough of Sheldon or Gabe Ellison up here week after week.
Yeah, he's seen quite a few interviews with the 27, trying to make one for his own here. Door to door they go through the opening side of the track. Now they'll be right next to each other down the back straightaway. A good run for the 27, though. Might be able to clear him here if he wants to slide up. However, Atkins not going away. Going to get right back to that right-hand side as they get down toward turn 1.
He's getting back to the throttle just early enough to keep himself on the right rear of this car.
Boy, and Gabe Ellison, you can see how much he's trying to clear the 81 right now, and has just been unable to do so. Every time he works his way up the track, the nose of that Miller Lite machine right there to take that opportunity to get up to the wall away. Great battle for third. We've had a fun battle for the lead. A lot of action happening here in the closing laps. Oh, bit of contact.
That's how you clear.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. That's a short track clear if I've ever seen one. Meanwhile, the 7 has recovered from that little bit of wall contact a few laps ago and has gotten to where he was about 10 laps ago.
This is your chance now. This is where I would go. If I was going to try offense, this is the window of opportunity. 12-10 to go. This is right where I was thinking.
Oh,
Here he
run.
goes. Sideways out of 2 for the 7. He's going to lose ground again. Good defense there by 3 of Sturgill. He's not going to give it up easy.
Boy, he is working to try and lead every lap here tonight. What a defensive drive from the 3. What a strategy call from the 7, shaping up to be a stellar finish. Michael Sturgill having to really put it all on the line here tonight. Defend from both the high and the low side as Josh Taylor on those slightly fresher tires, just trying to find anything around the 3. The Sturgills made that car 2 lanes wide at the moment.
Michael Garone looks to the inside of Jose Ruiz. He's loose off the exit of 4, and he's gonna lose a spot. He held on to. I don't know how he got that back under control.
Yeah, that was a big time save from the 66. Impressive work that he didn't lose out the Stan Carnathan as well. He'll hold on to that 8th spot, a bite barely. And now with 10 laps to go here from Richmond, Josh Taylor once again trying to mount a charge to get around Michael Sturgill. The 3 once again going to have to try and hold off one more surge from the challenger behind.
Don't want to get pinched on the inside. You know that Sturgill's going to keep you down there. The high line on the exit has been the favored line for pretty much everybody here. You're going to have to get creative, and maybe a little touch there out of turn 4 can help your cause.
Looks like the 7 a little loose out of 2 there. I think at this point he's been trying to wheel it to get around the 3 to a point where maybe he's burned out those tires just a little bit.
Maybe evened out, yeah. I mean, he keeps reeling it back in. It's got to be frustrating that you can shave, 3-4 tenths off, get back to his bumper, but you just can't get around him.
Dirty air has long been the plight of the stock car racer, and we're seeing it again here in full force tonight. That being said, it's been expertly applied by the 3 of Sturgill. He is not giving any clean air to the nose of the 7 here to let him try and find a way around. It's been expert driving up at the front from the leader.
And Bruce there on the outside, a little bit bad exit for Josh Taylor. Wheeling it again down the back stretch. Sideways.
Trying to get everything he can out of that race car. But now that gap's starting to open up a little bit. Sturgill may have survived the storm here with 5 laps to go. Or 6 laps to go, I suppose.
We get that 5 to go indication up on the ticker this time by as we ride on board with Michael Sturgill. So here it is. This is the window of opportunity. If you got anything left, Josh Taylor has to use it.
Yeah, you see that gap right now, about 0.4 of a second. It is reeling down a little bit. Still has some work to do, though. We've seen he's been able to get to the back bumper of Sturgill pretty effectively in this final run. Getting around him has been another matter entirely. But you see that gap there, basically dead even from the lap prior that time around. That might be all she wrote for the 7, as you see Chris Waddle bailing out of the way, not wanting to be a part of this fight for the lead.
3 and 4. Taylor a little bit quicker there on that entry. But not enough. He's going to have to take another 10. That time by even on the lap times.
Yeah, the 7 driving it in a lot deeper than the 3, but the 3 is getting a much better run off these past couple of laps. We'll see how it unfolds here this time around. Good little battle. Jose Ruiz, Michael Garone battling for 7th, 66, big time loose.
2 to go now. They cross the stripe. We're back here to this battle again here for the 8th position. Ruiz just trying to hold on for 7th. You got the 24 of Mullins holding on to the top 5. 4th back to 9th. All on top of each other as we get ready to take the 1 to go signal. This might be all she wrote for the 7 of Josh Taylor. Surviving the storm. Michael Sturgill comes out here at Richmond. He's going to lead every single lap in Virginia. Off of turns 3 and 4 for the final time today. Michael Sturgill is going to add a 2nd win to his record books.
Doing it in style, too, nearly sideways across the line. A perfect 150 for 150. The stage win, the race win for Michael Sturgill. Couldn't have drawn up a better night for the 3-car. Exactly what the doctor ordered for his standing situation coming into Richmond tonight. And oh so close for Josh Taylor. He had his opportunities to try and get around the 3, but just wasn't meant to be tonight. He'll have to settle for 2nd. Gabe Ellison going to round out our podium here this evening.
Post-race interviews with your top 3, those final results. Coming up right after this, you're watching the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series live on V-Speed.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Richmond Raceway, Michael Sturgill in a dominant performance gets the stage, gets all the laps led, and he gets to victory lane after starting on the pole. So pretty much everything that could go right for you, it happened to the 3-car today in style. A lot of results up on your screen after 3 cautions. Josh Taylor, who stayed on a little bit different strategy all race long, but ultimately there at the end had a little bit fresher tires. Took offense to the inside of the 3, not able to get the victory. And then Gabe Ellison will round out your top 3. Stellar day for the 27. He's going to gain a lot here on the 43 after Casey Carrington finishes outside the top 10. Sheldon Atkins, a great day for him. Started in 9th. He's going to finish in 4th, so 5 spots gained for him. Michael Mullins gains 11, and then Dylan Rosenberg, he's going to gain 16 positions here to finish in 6th. Jose Ruiz, a solid day for him. Everybody in this top 10, really, with the exception of Stan Carnathan, who lost 2 spots. You got Michael Garone and Jeff Noe rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, and while all those guys went forward, a lot of the folks you'll see here all unfortunately went backwards from where they qualified. Casey Carrington will bring it home 11th tonight. Curtis White 12th. Craig Martin in 13th, just ahead of Thomas Stokes and Steve Melnick. Courtney Nelson finishes 16th here tonight. John Skavnicki 17th. Josh Dillon in the 18th position ahead of Tim Bruce and Chris Waddle.
One more set here on the race results. It's going to be Kyle Shelton in the 77 finishing 21st. Cade Sullivan 22nd. Daniel Giroux early exit to this race. And Steve Ritter in the number 16 will round out your field. So with that, it's time to catch up with our top 3. And I think here we have Alex Gagnon caught up with Gabe Ellison in the number 27.
I can certainly bring him in. There we go. Here with the third place finisher tonight, Gabe Ellison. Gabe, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, you came in tonight with the points lead. You're going to leave probably expanding on that, finishing ahead of the 43 here tonight. Good speed for you tonight, just maybe not the race-winning pace. Talk to us a little bit about your night and what would have had to go differently to get around to 3 at Sturgill.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit on the head. I just don't think I quite had the race-winning pace. Long run, me and Michael evened out, but short run, he was able to. He'd pull out a second and a half on me, and I didn't. We'd even out long. I wasn't back. He wasn't backing into me or anything. But then we got that yellow. I started green flag pit cycle, and as soon as I pit, the yellow came out. So that put me back in 11th or 12th. So I had to kind of work my way back up. So I guess that was fun, but it's very difficult to pass here, which I'm sure was shown by Taylor not being able to pass Sturgill even though he had fresher tires. But good race. I mean, it's classic short track racing, tough to pass. A little bit of contact here and there, fun stuff.
Yeah, it seemed like a fun one out there, but to your point, it was pretty difficult to pass. You did have to work your way through a good bit of the field, though, in that final run. What were you finding to be the way to get around folks tonight, and when conditions were so unfavorable to passing?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be on their outside, but everyone kind of knows that. So if if the guy behind you is a little faster and you really want to hold them up, you just stay on their outside, and makes it real tough because you just carry so much speed. As long as you hang on the right rear, you can catch back up on the front stretch. So I mean, that first bit, me going back to the field, I was just kind of going where people weren't, because there was lap cars and some guys on older tires, and it was a whole mess. So I was just kind of setting picks and doing whatever. But outside was definitely the place to be, which I think that's what Sturgill did. He just protected the top, and I got him the win.
Yeah, so obviously a really good day for him, really good day for you. With the 43 finishing outside the top 10 tonight, I'd imagine you'll probably expand on your points lead a bit here, leaving Richmond. Got to imagine that you're feeling pretty good as we approach the second half of this regular season, knowing that you're now opening up a bit of a gap over both the 43 and the 3. I mean, even though he gained on you tonight, there's still a pretty healthy distance between the two of you.
Oh yeah, feels good. I mean, that's what it's all about. Is when you don't have race winning pace, is still just getting all the spots you can. I think I got third in the stage and finished third. So didn't win, didn't really have a good shot at winning, but still got really good points. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, Gabe, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out while you're up here in the booth?
Yeah, shout out to Clinton Sneed for not showing up tonight and making me be race control. Appreciate that, buddy. Shout out to Sim Racer Hub and all the other admins at Casey Carrington run the other league. And as always, huge thanks to you guys at V-Speed.
All righty. Well, Gabe, thank you so much for popping by. Congrats on the podium finish tonight and on expanding that points lead you've got. And excited to see what comes of the ensuing races here as we start making our way into the back half of the regular season.
Same here. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Third place finisher here tonight, Gabe Ellison, and that brings us on down pit road a little ways. We have Josh Taylor, our second place finisher. You went up there and challenged him several times here tonight. With about 15 to go, you started turning the heat up a little bit. You got to the inside a couple times. Josh, it just seemed like there was no right way to get around the 3.
It was so hard to pass, honestly, and I feel like I probably should have been a little bit more patient through the traffic. I think I just blew my tires off a little bit. There at the end, the thing was sideways. I couldn't even get full throttle down the straightaway those last like 5 laps or so. So I don't think I had anything after that. Once I got 15 to go, I kind of felt that I wasn't going to be able to get him, but he's such a good driver though. It's kind of hard to be mad about that.
When you come in here tonight, you started in third. You knew that you had the speed, but some of the tracks that we've been to, you've been up here in the top 5, and then it seemed like during the long run you kind of fall out. How good does it feel though to put it all together here tonight?
it feels good to finally not, I've had so many mistakes, and something I'm trying to work on is not blowing off I feel like I'm very fast, like on the short runs a lot of time, and I'll just go through my tires and trying to be a little bit more patient this race, and I think it paid off. I saw like Casey coming early in the first like 20 laps. I just let him go. I felt like on the long pace, I was, better than him at times. I think I was better than Gabe at times. I think Gabe was better than me at times, but honestly, I don't think I was better than Michael any time in the race except for like when I just had the fresh tires. Once it evened out, it was just, I mean, we were just so neck and neck.
Got up there in that dirty air, and it seemed to
Hmm.
interfere with your line as well. You come
Yeah.
out of this race though, halfway through the season, the regular season. You're putting together some top fives. I mean, you got to be proud of that.
I'm definitely proud of it. The first couple races in here, I felt, terrible. I think I finished like 20th a couple times, like my first couple races, and I'm not used to that. So I really had to like focus up and try to not make mistakes. I think I've made some of the most bonehead mistakes, like three of the races this year. Kind of had a slow start, but I think that might put me in the top 10 in points, and hopefully we can make a good playoff run and see if we can't challenge these guys later on in the season.
Well, Josh, while we have you up here in the booth, I believe this is the first time that we've had you post race.
Hmm. Yep.
Is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Uh, not really. I guess you guys probably for sticking around and broadcasting all these races. I like to go back and watch the races after it unfolds, and it's been a pretty wild ride. I'm just glad to be in this league. It's a really good league. There's been races where we've been caution free a lot of times, and um, there's not that many cautions in here. A couple times during the race, there's been a cautions. And these are a little bit harder tracks, but everybody kind of races really respectful, so I kind of like that.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Josh Taylor,
Hmm.
second place finish here tonight. We appreciate you and good job. We'll see you next week at
Yep.
Nashville.
Thanks, guys.
And finally, that brings us to Victory Lane. Alex Gagnon has your race winner, second time winner here, Michael Sturgill.
Hey, Michael, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, don't know what else to say other than this was a perfect race for you, I think, at least statistically. Got the pole, led every lap, won the stage, won the race.
Yeah,
Don't know what else to say other than how did it all come together like this tonight?
I'm pretty confident when we come to Richmond. In practice, I've figured a few things out. I actually ran a couple longer runs. Got my settings where I thought they'd be best, and then I also practiced a few qual laps, and I knew I'd have a shot at getting the pole tonight, and I was able to. So that really set the tone. I was able to get good jumps on restarts and just stay out front in clean air.
Well, it certainly was evident that you were able to get those restart launches better than about anyone else in the field, and then being able to dictate the race from the front, I'd imagine, helped a lot. I'm going to ask you a little bit about that battle at the end with the 7 of Josh Taylor. He was on slightly fresher tires, got right to your back bumper a couple of times, but how were you able to hold off the 7 charging in the closing laps there?
Yeah, I was having flashbacks. I think it was Charlotte where we got a quick yellow like after 5 laps, and I didn't pit. And I did the same thing tonight. And at Charlotte, it really bit me. So I was worried. And he got up to me. He actually kind of made a move into one. He wasn't far enough up yet to make it, so he backed out. But he finally did get under me. He had a huge run out of 4, and there was no way I was blocking that run into 1. But I was able to roll the top and carry a lot of momentum and get back out front. I was really hoping that I could keep him behind me long enough to where the tires kind of evened out, and I think eventually at the end they did. But he had me sweating. I thought I screwed up by staying out again.
Well, it ultimately worked out in your favor, although it was certainly close there. And, you started off pretty hot this season, pretty sure a podium and a win through the first 2 races, and then a little bit cooled off a little bit once you took a couple of races away. But now back in victory lane, how do you feel about your chances for the regular season title here after putting together race win number 2 on the year?
It's still going to be a struggle. I think Gabe has like 40 points on me. So that's going to be hard to make up on Gabe. It's going to take him missing a race or having a really bad race or something to that effect. But I'm going to keep trying to get these wins and try to catch him for the regular season title.
All right, well, we're excited to see it. If you put on a few more performances like you did tonight, I have no doubt you'll be able to reel them in a hurry. Michael, congrats on the win tonight. Anyone you'd like to shout out while you're up here in the booth?
Yeah, shout out Clinton and all the other admins for putting this league on. Everyone who comes out and races every week. I know we probably had more cautions than we usually do, but we still only had what, like 3. So it speaks volumes to the type of guys we have in here. You guys for putting the race on. Everyone who watches and my teammates. And I want to thank Josh. He could have definitely driven in there when he caught me and roughed me up, but he raced me clean, so he's got a lot of respect from me for that. I think that's got it.
Alrighty. Well, Michael, congrats on the win tonight. Literally could not have gone any better for you. Congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
There's your race winner, Michael Sturgill, with the perfect day. You can't dial it up any better than that. That's how you. I mean, when you sit and ponder these races, you get the what ifs, the scenarios that you play over and over again in your head. That's exactly how you dial it up. And so for it to all come together in a racetrack that you're confident on, you have a good day, you start on the pole, you go out there and you win the stage, and then it just continues on from there. It doesn't get any better than that. And for Michael Sturgill, this might be one of those, confidence builds that could string together a championship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can clearly see the potential's there when he has race days like this. I mean, quite literally unbeatable tonight. And if he's able to put together a few more of those kind of performances, that is a dangerous car to watch come chase time.
Speaking of chase time, we still have a lot of racing left to be done. Schedule up on your screen. We have completed our 150 laps, of course, here at Richmond. It's on to Nashville next week. Nashville Super Speedway, October 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you can join us here on V-Speed, as we'll be bringing you flag-to-flag coverage all season long in the SimRacerHub.com Challenge Series. For everybody that made this possible, I'd like to shout out Clinton Sneed. He writes the checks. He makes this possible. Adam Baker, who does all the things in the background. Alex Gagnon for being up here in the booth with me all season long. I think you're pretty much committed at this point. We will see you
we're
next
just
week.
here.
we are definitely here. It's been fun so far. Tune in tomorrow night for Racing Revolution. They will start at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Go ahead and set your schedule, turn on those notifications, and if you haven't subscribed to V-Speed, we highly recommend that you do so. We have plenty of racing through the week with QSR, Racing Revolution, the VRX Track Challenge Series, Saturday Night Racing League, and soon to be more. Sunday nights, we're looking at a little bit of Sunoco Cup Series as well. But for everybody at V-Speed, I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, telling you so long, stay tracking, and we'll see you next time.